Wondering why it echoes through the lonely palace of the side. Wondering why it echoes through the lonely palace of the side.
Italy, Poland, and several of the top club teams from Switzerland as well. Always very well supported, this wheelchair curling competition. And we will be featuring, hopefully, all of the teams here on the featured sheet. You can see the curling club in the background there. We have 6 sheets here. So we have 12 teams in this competition. And our featured game this morning, we are watching Team Korea, who have come all the way to support this competition again. And they are playing one of the top Swiss clubs, and that is Team Curling Club Oberwallis. My name is Lorna Rettig, and I will be hosting us through the tournament this weekend. We shall have a stream every round. First game this morning, it is 10:30. No, it isn't. It's 11:30 here in European time. Next round is at 3:30 European in the afternoon. We have 2 more rounds tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning European and 2 in the afternoon European. And then we have finals on Sunday. It's a big day on Sunday. 8:30 is the first one. Set your alarm clock for that. And the final round is at 12:45. So loads of curling to enjoy this weekend. Always very well supported, this competition. And for the first time as well, you can see those folks in the yellow jackets. They are folks from the community here, from Curling Club Wetzikon and the Wetzikon community. And they're there to help the athletes just make sure the game keeps moving along. They're essentially managing the stones. And we have the action cam out there on the ice. We'll be getting a good look at the deliveries and the overhead views of all the games today. Now, this Swiss team from Curling Club Oberwallis, of course, they'll be relishing playing Team Korea. Several Olympians, Paralympians in this Korean team. And I'm sure the Koreans, they will be not taking this game lightly. I'm sure they will be giving full respect to all of their opposition here. And indeed, this is a great start from the Swiss team. They're throwing blue stones. Team Korea throwing yellow. We did last shot draw. The teams had a 15-minute practice on this sheet before the games began. And at the end of that, we did the last shot draw, as usual for these international competitions. And it was the Swiss who got the superior last shot draw. And that means they have last stone in this first end. And they have a couple of guards out front and a blue stone in behind it. So the Swiss managing to put nice pressure here on the highly experienced Koreans already in this first end. But this is a nice throw though. Look at that, that has just sneaked round and cancelled out that blue. And quite a change in momentum then. See our volunteer just making sure that the players have the stone where they need it. We say a big thank you to all of our volunteers. We have a lot of folks giving up their time today, tomorrow and Sunday for this competition. You will easily see the folks in the yellow jackets all weekend, so big thank you to them. And that's a really nice throw there from the Oberwallis team. Ooh, that's really nice stuff. Gosh, that is a lot of blue stones now hanging around. They opened up the front there. You can see that yellow stone now. Ooh, there's a nice view. Yeah, that's the view from the throwing end. You can see 1, 2, 3 blue stones hanging around now. It is blue who has last stone in this first end, and that yellow now looking a little bit vulnerable. A little bit of damage limitation then from Korea, asking for removal of that blue. Oh my goodness, but that slipped through. Oh gosh, what a chance for the Swiss team then to capitalise on that loose shot. Yeah, the Korean skip there just indicating that that throw was a bit wide of the brush, so didn't take the path they wanted. And the Swiss team from Oberwallis with a huge chance here to capitalise on that mistake. They do catch the yellow, and I think that's a good result there. It didn't curl that stone quite as much as they wanted to, but it's moved that yellow away from the 4-foot. It's now that blue stone lying. That dangerous blue still out front there. And no mistake this time. That blue now safely gone, so phew. Bit of a sigh of relief, I think, for the Korean team. Yeah, the high fives or low fives, I guess, all round there. That looks a lot less dangerous than it did a couple of stones ago, but the Swiss team still have opportunity here to start setting up a bigger score in this first end. It's the Swiss who have the last throw, throwing blue. And you can maybe see in the background the clubhouse up at the top with the friends and family and supporters, coaches, all up behind the glass. And it's a lovely weekend here. Chief Harry, who's been coordinating all this competition, he seems to have ordered some lovely weather for us as well. Not quite hitting and sticking then. You can see the house at the end there now looking a little more empty than it was a few stones ago. And we'll get to why precision in wheelchair curling is just a bit more difficult than we call it the Fußgänger in German, so the foot curlers. There's a few reasons why it is harder if you're a wheelie hurler. And yeah, big sigh of relief there from Korea. So all those dangerous blues now neutralised. And we have a very classic looking first end out there. Nobody really wanting to take too many risks. I think Korea will be fairly relieved that all of those dangerous blues are out of sight now. So first throw for the Swiss skip. Straightforward idea. Yellow removed. Job done. Ideally, she would have really liked that blue to roll towards the centre, maybe even in behind that guard. You can see Korea immediately had a look at that blue stone. Got that blue not quite finding a place inside the rings there. And good to see Korea, they're taking an aggressive stance here. That blue is quite dangerous, just thrown by the Swiss. It wouldn't take much to just push that into the rings, but Korea bravely taking an aggressive stance. They are aiming to come in behind those blues and put the pressure back on the Swiss. We like to see aggressive stuff. That keeps stones in play, and a decent effort from Korea. That does put pressure on the Swiss. There's a really nice view there. This is what the thrower can see from their end. And you can see that yellow, it did slip behind T-line, so there is space to chase it in, but you can see it's really buried in behind that blue. So that was a brave call from Korea. And let's see if it pays off for them. Last stone in this first end, we are watching Team Korea playing Team Oberwallis from Switzerland. Oh, and it does pay off for Korea. Good for them, a courageous call at the end. They were under a lot of pressure that first end, Korea, but a courageous call from them to play the aggressive stone at the end. They went for putting a shot in the house to put the pressure on Switzerland. It has paid off for them, and that is a steal of 1 point to Team Korea. Really grabbing a point from what looked like a difficult end for them. I don't think Switzerland will be too unhappy. That was really just that one last shot that didn't quite work for them. I think they'll be fairly happy with their start as well, but for sure, a really nice little point there up on the board for Team Korea. You can see the little hammer just on the left side of the scoreboard there. That shows us who started with last stone there. And that means that's a steal of 1 to Team Korea after one end in our featured game at the 15th International Wheelchair Curling Tournament here in Club Wetzikon. It is Team Korea 1, Team Oberwallis from Switzerland 0. You can find all the information you need for this weekend on the dedicated website. It is IWCT That's IWCT.ch for International Wheelchair Curling Tournament. And that's a dedicated website for this tournament this weekend. You'll find all the game times, all the information, the results will be posted there. It's in English and in German. Bookmark that tab and you can keep coming back to that. So we are in the second end of our featured game here at the 15th International Wheelchair Tournament in Club Vetsikon. We are watching Team Korea, several of whom have experience from Paralympic Games. So there's a lot of experience out there on the ice, and they are playing Swiss team from Curling Club Oberwallis. It was a steal of 1 to the Koreans in the first end. A little bit against the flow of play. It was really the Swiss who had very good setup the whole end. And you can see the difference, just 1 shot out of 8 didn't quite work, and that ended up as a steal. And it's been a nice start here in the second end for the Koreans. Really nice stone placement there. The quality in wheelchair curling just gets higher and higher every year. But I do think it's important we can speak a little bit about just the key differences between wheelchair game at this level and the foot players at this level. At the club level, I also think it's important to point out that if you're a wheelie player or if you're a wheelie user and you would like to try curling, then you absolutely can. You can call your local club. They will have everything you need. These the big sticks that you see for the delivery. Curling club, they will have that already. You don't need to provide it. It's your normal chair that you use. No need to have anything special, a sport chair or anything like that. You can go ahead and try. And at the club, you don't even need to find a specific wheelchair club. They certainly exist, but if it's just you, there's nothing to stop you joining in with the foot players at the club level. That's perfectly normal. We have several of the folks out there. I'm sure we shall see the team from Club Vetsikon at some point over the weekend, and there they are actually on just the sheet next door on the right of your screen. That's the team from Club Vetsikon, and they play in the club championship with the foot players and everyone else. So if you're a wheelchair user, if you're a bit sporty, if you'd like to play some curling, you absolutely can. At this level though, there certainly are just some key differences that just make the precision requirement that little bit tougher for the wheelchair users, and the most obvious one is that there are no sweepers here in wheelchair curling. That's one of the first questions when you talk about curling to folks, and they say, oh, that's that game on the ice with all the brushing, right? And typically, yes, it is. But here in wheelchair game, you don't have sweepers. And you can imagine that means once you've released that stone, that's it. No teammates to sweep, no teammates to try to pull that stone a little bit extra feet or to try to keep that stone on a particular path. Once you've released the stone, that's it. So that already increases the difficulty. That's the big difference. And then there's a couple of more subtle differences. We've got a nice view of the Korean athlete about to throw. There you can see, so he has the stick that goes over the handle, and you can see there's a little flexible part at the end that goes over the actual handle, and that moves on the release. He has his colleague behind to just hold the wheels so that you don't slip when you're throwing. But as you can see, it's only upper body strength. It's fully from the upper body, all of these stones. And for we foot curlers, typically we use leg drive to get the the stone to the other end. And for these guys out there, it's all upper body strength. So if you can imagine throwing a whole bunch of takeouts or so only with upper body strength, that increases the difficulty a bit as well. And the third key point that increases difficulty for wheelchair athletes is that as we're looking at these deliveries, you can see it's one smooth movement. So you can see, yeah, you have your stick delivery, all coming from upper body strength. So just be able to get a look at it now. You see here we go. So you slip the little flexible part of the stick over the handle. And then you line up, just like you do in foot curling, line up with the brush at the other end. And you're going to see one smooth movement. There we go, the stone's released. And it's just that one movement. Now, again, in foot curling, if you get your leg drive a bit wrong, if you push out a bit too hard or not quite hard enough, you have a couple of seconds between pushing out with leg drive before you release that stone, and you can make some small adjustments. You don't want to, but if you've got it a bit muddled and your leg drive wasn't quite right, you have a couple of seconds to try to fix it. Whereas, as you can see with the wheelchair athletes out there, it's one smooth movement and that's it. So no chance to adjust. You have to get it right first time. And that's really the third key point that just increases the difficulty for precision for these guys. So yeah, I think it's really worth pointing that out. The fact that wheelie athletes, they can typically just play as normal in the club. Respect to you, wheelchair athletes. That is not easy, getting this level of precision without any sweeping, just with upper body strength and with that one smooth movement. No possibility to adjust once that stone's on its way. But yeah, the quality for wheelchair curling getting higher and higher all the time. This is our 15th year of this competition, always very well supported. A lot of these teams will be travelling to Scotland next weekend at the Centre of Excellence in Stirling. They have a wheelchair international tournament as well. And for quite some years, that's been deliberately coordinated. So a lot of the teams, they travel first here to Curling Club Betsicon in Switzerland, and then they will go to Scotland next week for the second of the international tournaments. And yeah, the quality just gets higher and higher every time. And Korea's experience starting to show a little bit now in the second end. We shall be featuring the game on sheet 3 in each of the rounds this weekend. We shall hopefully be able to feature all of the teams. And yeah, for now, the Koreans' experience beginning to show a little bit. You can see the Swiss saying, okay, there's a couple of yellows out front here. There's one yellow shot in the house already. Time to make some space here. And he didn't quite catch the angle he wanted there. He does move things around a little bit, but unfortunately, that yellow at the back of the 8 foot, that is still lying short. However, it would now be a blue stone out front that you're driving back rather than a yellow. But yeah, ideally, he wanted to create more of a gap in the centre rather than just exchanging. There's a nice view of it there. He really wanted to create more of a gap. But at least now, yeah, it's a blue stone we'd be driving back rather than yellow. But yeah, Korea, this aggressive approach worked for them in the first end. Not afraid to just keep piling stones in, put the pressure on Switzerland. It was a steal of 1 point to Korea in the first end. And that means that it's still the Swiss throwing blue stones. They're still the ones with last stone in the second end. And this is aggressive calling from Korea. We love to see that. And what a throw. That is a lovely stone. You can see that's perfect. That's ahead of tee. So nothing to freeze on. And there's a lovely shot, a lovely view from what you will see from the throwing end. You can't even see all of that yellow. It's a little bit hidden behind those guards. That's exactly what Korea was going for. And again, I think that this is a good point to mention that, yeah, if you had, say, two big boys from one of the top teams sweeping that, or two of the top ladies, when the stone's just curling towards the end there, you'll often see the top teams, oh yeah, sweep for the curl, to really try to drag that stone in behind the guards, and not available in the wheelchair game. Just that little bit harder for really athletes to really bury a stone in behind those guards, but I think that's a pretty nice effort from Korea. No way Switzerland can get to the inside of that yellow just thrown by them. I wouldn't have thought. But that stone just thrown by Korea, it is lying shot. And this stone coming at full beans, but no, that just went backwards and backwards. Maybe a little bit less weight on that, give it a chance to curl. And now it's definitely advantage Korea. One stone each to come in the second end of our featured game at the 15th International Wheelchair Curling Tournament in Curling Club Wetzikon in Switzerland. Final throw for Korea. And they have again gone for the aggressive call. They want to just ideally get another shot in the house, but actually just blocking up that space is also fine for them. Perfect shot there would have been a third yellow in the house, but as you can see, that yellow just thrown there, that just blocks up that path. There's a nice view of it as well. The yellow on the right of our screen as we're looking at it, that completely blocks that path for Switzerland. It's forcing them now down the other side of the rink. I think Korea will be very happy with their 8 stones in this end. This is a tricky one for Switzerland. If you just punch that yellow as it is, if you hit as much of that as you can see, I don't think you'll be lying short. Then you'll be just lying in the 12 foot, and then I think the yellow in the back of the rings there, just touching the centre line, I think that will still be short. Looks like the team's come to a similar decision. Yeah, I don't see any advantage to going for the similar shot that they tried before. I don't think that will result in a point for them. Instead, yeah, playing towards that blue in the middle and just try to punch that straight back. And they've got plenty of space, so I think this is a wise decision. We're looking for just about T-weight, but ooh, frantic hand waving from the vice skip, and he thinks that's coming in hot. And yeah, it doesn't quite curl enough, unfortunately. I think that was the right idea, but didn't quite curl. And that looks like the Korean player signaling, I think that was a score of 2. And Korea really finding their rhythm now. As I said, this team, they were at Paralympic in Beijing last year. Very, very experienced team, and all of that experience looks like it's starting to show in this game against curling club Oberwallis. But several of those Swiss players, they've played at highest level. A couple of those have been to Paralympic as well. I'm sure they won't be intimidated. They would definitely, though, like to just put a score on the board, just to steady the ship, I think, the Swiss team. That was a steal of 2, I think. We're just waiting for the score to go up on the scoreboard at the other end. I think we have a scoreboard volunteer somewhere who wanders around the back line there and puts up scores. Hopefully they'll be passed soon. And Korea persisting with this aggressive approach. They're plus points now, and they realise that no need for them to take risks. It's been working for them, just putting stones in the rings. Leave it to the Swiss team to try to build an end, to try to counter that. And you could see that yellow. They just went straight into the rings with that, Korea. They're quite happy to keep stones out of play, actually. So actually, yeah, not quite the aggressive approach. More accurately, they're quite happy to keep the game in the house. So probably we will simply see Korea going stone for stone in the house. And that's nice. At some point, Switzerland, if they want to get points, they shall have to start keeping blue stones in play. Aha. Here's the scoreboard volunteer, and it was indeed a steal of 2. That means that after 2 ends in our featured game here at the 15th International Wheelchair Curling Tournament in Curling Club Betsikon, it's Team Korea 3, Team Oberwallis 0. You do sometimes see this in the wheelchair game, perhaps a little more. Certainly in the foot player game, you certainly used to see incredibly low scores. I'm from the 1980s, and gosh, it wasn't that unusual to see a score of, say, 2-1 after 10 ends or something. And this is how that happens. You just keep the stones in the house, just hit for hit. Very low scoring games, and you quite often see that in the wheelchair game as well. Not always, but it's more common in wheelchair game, and I think that's because of the reasons we discussed, that to play these really precision shots, the level of difficulty for a wheelchair thrower is simply higher. And I think that's why you can see a lower scoring game sometimes. It's easier just to make some hit for hit. But that's not going to get Switzerland back points here. They are going to have to switch it up and start landing and keeping blues in the house here. Shake of the head from the skip. I think that's maybe just coming up a little bit short. And you can imagine, viewer, imagine if you'd had a couple of nice strong sweepers on that blue stone. I'm sure they would have been able to drag that blue stone in behind the yellow. But not possible in wheelchair game. That's just team. They need guards out front, actually. They're minus 3 points. They need something to hide behind. But of course, this Korea team, they are really courageous. Those guards out front, dangerous for them. That stone Switzerland can hide behind. But Team Korea really calling their bluff and saying, well, we're just going to hide behind the guards first. Come get us. Very adaptable, this Korea team. If Switzerland play in the house, they're quite happy to just go hit for hit. And if Switzerland put up some guards, they're quite happy to get round it first. And oh, that was so close again. You could imagine with a couple of strong sweepers on that stone, that just feathered that guard by millimeters. And you could imagine with a couple of strong sweepers, that shot would have been just perfect. But again, Korea's courage paying off. I'm sure now we will see them play along a similar line. They are quite happy to start blocking up the centre now. Put all that pressure on the Swiss team to sort it out. Nice throw from them. Look at that finish. That is a lovely throw, but still options for Swiss. You can see the Swiss skip, yeah, going for that yellow stone right in the middle. If you drive that blue, the blue stone rather, right in the middle, if you drive that blue back at pace, that was a mighty push there. And that's fine too. That's probably plan B. Perfect would be to drive that blue straight back onto the yellow. But plan B, definitely. Let's just open a space there. That's exactly what they've done. That same drill for Korea. Now that they've got that stone in the forefoot, they can put pressure on the Swiss. Just keep playing towards that centre line. There's no particular difference in strategy for wheelchair curling over foot curling. You still score in exactly the same way. Still got 4 people in the team, you still have free guard zone. It's more some technical differences as we've discussed. But that is finally a bit of a half shot from Korea. You can see that's over curled. And the Swiss, they can now see that shot in the forefoot, I think. And they need to be careful with this throw. We don't need huge weight at this. Accuracy's more important. They really want this blue to hang around as well. So very much a 2-part shot here. They want that yellow to go. But they want this blue to hang around. But oh no. So that's over curled that blue. Oh, but thankfully, that yellow does not spring and land in the house. And again, that's a decent plan B. It's cleared out the front. It's opened up some space. We have just a wee bit longer to play a wheelchair game. Typically in foot curling, you would have about 2 hours to complete the game, and in wheelie curling, it's 2 hours 15, and that again simply is accommodating the fact that it just takes a little longer, 5 or 10 seconds longer to position yourself for a throw, 5 or 10 seconds longer to just make way for the next player, and that all adds up, these 10 seconds here and there. So we have 2 hours 15 for a wheelie game. Nice throw from the Korean skip though. This is a harder shot now for Switzerland. They will not be able to throw a big weight at this anymore if they want to get to that shot stone in that 4-foot circle. They're going to have to take the weight off. They need the stone to curl. And while Swiss skip preparing for her first throw, well, I'll tell you which other games are out there, and then we'll come back to the scores. On sheet 1, we have Team Canada. They're playing Team Italy. On sheet 2, we have Sweden against Poland. On sheet 4, next to us, we have Slovakia against the team from Curling Club Vetsikon here. On sheet 5, we have Team Switzerland. They are against another Swiss team from Curling Club Bern Friebau. And over on sheet 6, we have Team Estonia, and they are playing against the final Swiss team from Curling Club Geneva. And I shall update you on those scores. Yeah, tricky throw here in our featured game though. You can see how the stick puts how throwing with the stick, you can see how that achieves the curl. So if you're a foot player, then you put the curl on at the release. And same idea for wheelie player. It's that little flexible part at the end of the stick there. You just turn your wrist a little bit, and that then puts the curl on the stone, and oh dear, that has not really improved matters for the Swiss. It is a blue stone out front that we could use for the next and final throw for Switzerland, but I think we shall see the Korean 4th thrower. I think we shall see them pretty much throw the same shot as last time. Last throw in this third end for Team Korea. And oh gosh, are they even trying to get a second yellow in the house? Oh golly. Well, lucky you, Switzerland, that that yellow just stopped where it did. So it's still only one yellow they're facing, but gosh, look at all those stones out front. That's the view from the throwing end here. Yeah, just as we were saying, I think that's your only choice, Switzerland, is to try to drive that blue back. I don't think you can outdraw this. I think both sides are too blocked for that. Yeah, you don't want to take too long over this. If you've heard me commentating games before, you will know that I'm, on average, not a fan of too much jibber-jabber. I think you can lose the rhythm a bit if you spend too long chatting. So, yeah, make a decision and do it. But, well, let's see. The Swiss have indicated they're going to go for the draw instead. No, that's coming up way short. That's not going to have enough beans to push that blue into shot. So it's another tidy end there from Korea. It's another steal of 1 to them. And Korea really starting to put the pressure on now. The Swiss team, we call it getting one to death. Just one shot here, one shot there. But that lead building up for them now after 3 ends here in our featured game at the 15th International Wheelchair Curling Tournament in Curling Club Wetzikon. In our featured game, it is Team Korea 4, Team Oberwallis 0. While having a team chat just to discuss, I'm sure we shall see same as before from Korea. And yeah, Swiss, they're going to have to take risks now. They're going to have to play a bit aggressive, I think. But also Team Korea out-aggressing them. Team Korea not afraid to just get to that 4 foot first and put some stones out front. But while they're starting this 4th end in our featured game, let's see what the other scores are. On sheet 1, we have Canada, Italy, 2 real heavyweights of the wheelchair curling game. And as expected, after 3 ends over there, it is 1 each. On sheet 2, we have Team Sweden. They are playing Team Poland. And actually, I shall need to come back to that. I'm at the wrong angle to see the scoreboard there, but we have Sweden playing Poland on sheet 2. On sheet 4, next to us in our featured game, we have Team Slovakia, another real heavyweight of the game. They've been to Paralympic, this team as well, and they are leading the team from Curling Club Wetzikon, 4 points to 0 there. On sheet 5, we have Team Switzerland against the team from Bern Friebau. I'm sure they know each other's game very well, and that is reflected in a score of 1 each after 3 ends. Over on sheet 6, it is Team Estonia, who have also been to Paralympic. They are playing the team from Geneva, and it is the team from Geneva who are 3 points to 0 ahead, also in their 3rd end. Korea continuing as they have been. Real precision stuff from them. You can see the difference. It's not that the Swiss are throwing badly, you know, that it's just one yellow here, one yellow there. But the Korean team, just that little bit more precise. And as we've spoken about, the degree of difficulty for precision in wheelchair game, much higher than for the foot curlers. There's no sweepers to help. You're using only upper body strength, no leg drive. And as we see a nice view of their thrower there, you have that just one move, just that one sweeping move forward with the stick. No chance to adjust that once the stone's on its way. So all of those increasing the degree of difficulty for the wheelchair athletes. So a lovely double take out there from Switzerland. That's always cheers us up. But it does leave that yellow, sorry, it does leave that blue open for a hit from Korea. No trouble there. It used to be a few years ago, when we were still learning wheelchair curling, I would say, it used to be that you could kind of play this hit for hit tactic. And not so much in the centre of the sheet, but if you had a couple of stones, you know, towards the sides of the sheet, you could more or less play in the house and wait for a miss. But that doesn't really work anymore. Everybody's a lot more accurate these days. Did not mean to curse that throw. But unfortunately for the Swiss team, the Koreans have now got a miss. And we've seen how efficient they've been in the first three ends. The Swiss team not missing loads of shots, but they've just had a half shot here or there, and Korea really punishing them for it. And Korea getting a miss from the Swiss team. And now we're going to see them fire another yellow into the house by the look of it. That's very nice from them. 2 yellow stones ahead of T-line, that's important. So nothing, no backing for the Swiss team to freeze on to. And difficult to get to the forefoot, difficult to outdraw those yellows. And indeed the Swiss skip realising, okay, we do need to get some blue stones into play, but those yellows, too dangerous. Now this would be lovely if this blue would just hang on. That is easily the nicest shot from Switzerland in this first half of the game. You can see the Korean skip right over on the left of our picture. Look at that blue stone. It could not be any further away from the centre and still be in the house, and it's half covered by a yellow guard as well. What a great shot that was. Now, could this be the little chink of light at the end of the tunnel for Switzerland? Could this be the break they need with a really super shot from them? That's exactly what they needed now. They're putting pressure on Korea. All right, Korea. Let's see if they can manage these difficult shots as well. It's curling, it's curling, it's curling. Is it going to catch an edge? It doesn't. Now we see what a great shot that was from Switzerland. Very difficult to just pick that blue out. You can still see that blue there on the left of our picture. There's a yellow out front if you curl too much. And that throw from Korea didn't quite curl enough. And now Switzerland, you will not get a better chance than this. Nice controlled weight. Important this blue hangs around as well. Oh, it does. But it's bumped its friend out. But I think, yeah, there's a nice view again. Slightly easier for Korea, but still, that stone is a long way from the centre. Always a bit tougher to get rid of stones way out on the wings there, rather than a nice, relatively straightforward throw straight up the middle. But he just had a look at it. He'll make an adjustment for this throw. Same idea. And has he got it right this time? Oh my goodness! You can see how difficult it is, yeah, without sweeping. It's tough to get those stones way out in the wings. That's why it's really good for Switzerland to keep those stones out there. And now they have unexpectedly a second chance to put a second stone in play. And they're going for completely the other side of the house. Make sure a double takeout is all but impossible. And this blue, the line is perfect. And it just needs to put its brakes on. It does. Wonderful throw from the Swiss team there. This is more like it. There you can see those blue stones touching the edges of our screen. Double takeout. Very, very difficult. It's a huge across the house double for Korea. They may as well try it. But yeah, so much separation. Look at those two blues. One on the extreme left of our picture, one on the extreme right. Imagine how accurate you have to be and how big of a throw you will have to do to remove that first blue and spin all the way over accurately to pop the other blue out on the other side. But here it comes. He's certainly put some beans on it. It's coming in with some hot sauce. No mistake with the first blue. And that is a really nice throw. You can see that yellow just thrown by Korea. That is now lying short, so that means it's the closest to the middle, even though it's far away on the wings there. So if Switzerland want to make use of this really nice play this end, they need to hit and stick here. They want pretty much the same situation again. Only one throw left for Korea. If Switzerland can have two blues either side of the house, make a double takeout really difficult for Korea. That is their best chance to put up a score of 2, and wouldn't that make a difference to this game? So yeah, let's concentrate, make sure everything's perfectly set up. Big throw coming here. And she's definitely got the yellow. But that was a lot of weight on that blue, and that blue is not going to hang around. So Korea are going to have another chance to just pop that second blue out. That could be a costly mistake for Switzerland. You just needed a little bit less weight on that stone. And I'm sure that blue would have hung around. But Korea, they will be breathing a sigh of relief. they have a chance to now remove the final blue in the rings. But as we've seen, not very easy to ping out that blue with all those stones out front. But yeah, they've had to look at it before and no mistake this time. And is that yellow going to hang on? Oh, it does. So Switzerland, I think they might regret this end. They've had a couple of chances. Big difference between putting up a score of 2 and hopefully putting up a score of 1 point. They had chances to put up 2. Didn't quite find the hit and stay though. But certainly important to put up a score here. I think this is heavy again though. It does remove the yellow, but blue doesn't hang around. Although I may be misspeaking. That could be on purpose to blank the end. Hold on to last stone. Starting to come together for the Swiss in that fourth end. They may say to themselves, you know, we played pretty well that end, apart from didn't quite nail the hit and sticks. But yeah, let's do that again in the fifth end. Let's blank this fourth end. Let's hang on to last stone in the fifth end and try to set up for 2. I think we're still early enough in the game that makes sense. We play 8 ends here in our international wheelchair tournament. I think, yeah, you could probably afford to blank that end, but we are now in the second half. We'll be going into the fifth end out of 8 in our featured game here in Curling Club Etsicon. At some point, Switzerland are going to start running out of ends, so at some point they may have to accept putting 1 on the scoreboard. But they had their chances in that fourth end. Let's see if they can create those chances again and really finish it off. Korea, I'm sure we're going to see them continue with their tactic. We have a dedicated website for the tournament all weekend. You can find it at IWCT.ch for International Wheelchair Curling Tournament. IWCT.ch. It's in English and in German. And you shall find all the information there. All the results will be posted there. The game schedule's there. The competition information is there. IWCT.ch. Bookmark that for the weekend. So Swiss electing to blank that fourth end. They had their chances in that fourth end. They will be looking to build something similar here in the fifth. And we do already have 2 guards out front. If we are to see some points in this fifth end, then at the moment it looks like it could be more like a mixed doubles end, bit of a chase towards the centre rather than burying stones over on the wings as we saw in the fourth end. And the Korean lead player having a really strong game. She hasn't missed much. You can see how important that position is. If you play lead at your club and you feel like it's maybe because lead position doesn't matter too much, so it doesn't really matter, you know, if you play lead, nothing could be further from the truth. You can see what an impact the Korean lead thrower is having here. That stone just slipped behind T for her, but still putting pressure on the Swiss, and they're just overthrowing a wee bit here, the Swiss. The ice will be very fast. This is my club, and I played here on Tuesday, and the ice was very fast. And Danny, the ice maker, his ice is typically very fast, and I know he's been working on the ice for this past week and last week to make sure we have really perfect international conditions for all these teams. International ice, very fast and very curly. And the Korean second thrower not having a terrible time either. Nice throw from him, but you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stones played. Free guard zone is over. We can now move those yellow guards out of play. But Switzerland, this is the right throw. Those yellows are not helping them, but they don't really want to have to use stones to play takeouts to get rid of guards. They really want these blue stones to start being in the house. This is our first round at the International Wheelchair Curling Tournament in Vetsikon Club for this year. Next round is at 3:30 this afternoon, European. Tomorrow we have 2 rounds at 10 o'clock in the morning, European, and 2 in the afternoon. And on Sunday, it's the big day. We have the final round robin at 8:30 in the morning. I shall need to set my alarm. And then, sorry, that's heat 5 at 8:30. Then the final round is at 12:45. We have lots of curling to look forward to, and we shall be trying to feature all of our teams at least once here on the featured game. Our featured game this morning, we're watching Team Korea, really experienced team from there, and they are playing Swiss team from curling club Oberwallis. There are a couple of folks in the Oberwallis team though who have been to Paralympic as well, and that's a nice throw from the Swiss. There's a nice angle. You can see that blue out front. That looks quite dangerous now, either to just push back at T-line, or you could drive that blue back onto that yellow, start building an end there. But yeah, the Swiss, it was okay to blank that fourth end. You can see that 0 was up on the scoreboard. Okay to blank that fourth end, but at some point they are going to start running out of ends. We play 8 ends here, and I think they need to score something in this 5th end. I don't think they can afford to wait until the 6th end. But I'm sure Korea will be very happy to force them to wait until the 6th end to score. I was going to say Korea, surely one of the favourites to do well in this competition, but actually we have a whole bunch of teams who could be favourites to do well in this competition. There's confirmation of the score. All of the scores from all of the rounds will be on the competition website at IWCT.ch. Now let's see how dangerous that blue is now. I feel like I might prefer the other handle, and indeed They agree with that. Yeah, I think that's easier to access that blue there. And again, I've seen this idea a couple of times from the Swiss. Ideal would be to drive that blue back onto the yellow, but that is a perfectly good plan B. Let's just make sure we open it up. This Korean team, they were at Paralympic in Beijing last year. But actually, most of the teams out there have Paralympic experience as well. We have Canada and Italy over on sheet 1. Most of them in those teams, they were in Beijing last year. On sheet 2, we have Sweden and Poland. The Polish team, newer on the scene. They were not involved in Paralympic last year, but the Swedish team, they went all the way to the silver medal. Next door to our feature game, we have Team Slovakia. They made semi-finals at Paralympic. The Slovakian team, well, Slovakian nation, they've always been very strong in wheelchair curling. And Team Estonia over on sheet 6, they made it to semi-final in Paralympic as well. Also quite new on the scene, but made a very bright start. So actually, yeah, hard to pick a favourite from the lineup here. We have 12 really excellent teams out there. Another big throw from Switzerland, going for that shot stone. And this time he has got it perfectly. Lovely throw from the Swiss. And there's a lovely view. That blue safely snuggled in behind a couple of guards. Really nice throw from them. This is what they need. They need blues in play. They need blues behind cover. They need to be putting this kind of pressure on Korea. Too easy for Korea to just keep on putting up a guard. Throw to the house, put up a guard. That's too easy for a team at this level. But this is much better from the Swiss. Forcing Team Korea to do something a bit more complicated. We have 4th thrower stones to come. It is still Switzerland with last stone. They have had last stone in every end. And here in the 5th end, they would love to put a big 2 on the board. And that chance is still there. Korea just missing that raised takeout. From our angle, it looks like they will have another chance at it. You can see that yellow still out front. I'm not sure if it gets past the blue out front as well, but anyway, meanwhile, you can see the brush in position there. Swiss trying to draw around to the other side of the centre line. Same tactic as in the 4th end. They want to make sure that Korea does not have a chance for a double takeout. Only 1 stone to come for Korea, 2 for the Swiss. If they can get a really nice throw in behind those guards on the right side of the centre line. Difficult for Korea to remove both. And Switzerland would love to score a big 2 here in this 5th end. So first things first. This looks better. Is it going to put its brakes on? Oh gosh, I think someone had too much porridge for breakfast. This was still overthrowing a little bit. And Korea are going to have another chance to go for the short stone. The Korean 4th thrower Was pretty close last time. I'm just having a look at it though. The angle's changed slightly since previous throw. But yeah, it looks like indeed that yellow has space to get past the blue that it's next to. Just making final small adjustments to the position of the broom at the other end. Big shot here for Korea. They could really break Swiss hearts with this one. Switzerland really need to start scoring. They are going to start running out of ends. We're in the second half of the game. Did that practice throw work? Oh, it did. And you heard a sad Swiss noise there. They just caught enough of it. House is empty, even though we've got a bunch of guards out front. Swiss could blank this. I don't think I like that idea, though. I think we're getting a little bit late in the game for blanking. I think they may be wise to take 1 point at this stage. And the body language from the Koreans, they look very comfortable, very nice, confident play. Pressure all on the Swiss team at the moment. And I think the Swiss skip, I think she has overcorrected. Her first throw had a bit too much gas. And yeah, she's overcorrected there. And an accidental blank end, I'm going to call that. We can just see that lovely double takeout earlier on this end. And again, we saw the Swiss making chances there. Yeah, they got to that shot stone, rolled in behind cover. It took the Koreans a couple of goes to get to it, but catching just enough of an edge with their final throw, Korea. So it is a second blank end, not on purpose this time. We've only got 3 ends left. We play 8 ends. We're in end number 6. And Switzerland, if they want to turn this game around, they really need to start scoring now. Definitely still in this game. +4. Absolutely doable in 3 ends. But they need to start taking their chances. They're doing well creating chances, the Swiss. The Koreans found their rhythm a little bit quicker, but the Swiss team really catching them up again, but not quite taking their chances when they've created good options. And look at that. You could not have gone down and placed that stone any better. It is, well, 2 or 3 centimetres short of the house. It's fully protected by free guard zone. That means the stone can move, but it cannot go out of play. And what a dangerous shot that yellow is, to just either sneak a stone in behind or just punch it up half a metre or so. Just superb throw from the Korean lead, who is definitely earning her lunch. And yeah, the Swiss not quite finding their weight out there. A few of them overthrowing and then overcorrecting. Not so the Korean team. You can see what a beautiful stone that was with the first throw. And now just wanting to sneak a stone in behind it. And goodness me, she has hardly done a thing wrong in this first round. And landing that stone exactly on the tee line. You can see the pressure this is putting on the Swiss right from that first throw. I don't mind moving this yellow, but we need this blue to stay in play. It's too easy for Korea when all they have to do is just punch out blue stones. And ooh, that's curled too much. And that stone out front, still protected by free guard zone. So we will see that stone returned to its place. I would have thought. It could be that nobody noticed. They maybe forgot about free guard zone. But yeah, that stone should be replaced where it was. But you can only do it if people notice. If neither team notices and we all play on, then that's exactly what happens. Neither team has noticed and we simply play on. And no problem for the Korean team, just replacing a guard out front, touching that centre line. Still space for the Swiss to get to the shot stone though, but again, as I said, I don't mind maybe moving this yellow stone just back half a metre or so. But we don't want to be making life too easy for Korea out there. And that stone just over curling, not as much as the previous one. Definitely we can see the adjustment. That stone just over curling. We need to start getting some blue stones hanging around here. The Swiss team making this a bit too easy for Korea at the moment. And this stone just running on a little bit, but no harm done, to be honest. I quite like it exactly where it is. Very difficult to move both of those yellows. That yellow just thrown by Korea, sitting right on top of the previous one. Pretty easy to remove the back yellow, but that front yellow is pretty locked on. Just like that. And again, they haven't quite found the right angle. We need these blues to be hanging around. There's confirmation of the score. It is quite a low-scoring game. A couple of blank ends in there. But we're in the 6th end out of 8. And the Swiss team are now starting to run out of ends. You really need to score something in the 6th end if they're going to grab this game back again. Korea just sticking to their tactic. They don't need a lot of stones in play, but as long as they have one yellow in the house there, Switzerland either has to remove it or draw something better. That's keeping the pressure on the Swiss team at the moment. And that's a good opportunity to see what's going on in the other games. We have 12 teams here this weekend. We shall be trying to feature everyone at least once in the featured game. Now, over on sheet 1, it is Canada-Italy. Two hugely experienced teams over there. Very close game as we'd expect. And after 5 ends over there, it is Canada 3, Italy 2. On sheet 2, we have Sweden, Paralympic silver medalists, and they are playing Poland, who are a bit newer on the wheelchair curling scene. They are still in their 5th end. And I'm at slightly the wrong angle to check their score. On the neighbouring sheet, on sheet 4, we have Team Slovakia. Again, hugely experienced team, and they are just steadily keeping the pressure on the team from our club here in Vetsikon. After 5 ends, it is 7-0 to the Slovakians. On sheet 5, another very close encounter. Heavens. We have Team Switzerland against another team from Switzerland from Club Bern Fribourg, that doesn't quite fit on the scoreboard. These two teams will know each other's play forward and back, and the resulting score after 5 ends, it's 1 each. Almost like we're back in the 1980s. And our final game out there just now, over on sheet 6, it is Team Estonia. Relatively new on the scene, but they reached a semi-final in Paralympic. Still a little bit tactically puzzling sometimes, but very strong throwers, and they really pulled that game back after 5 ends. After 4 ends, sorry, over on sheet 6. Team Estonia, it is now they who lead the team from Geneva, 4 points to 3. Now, the Swiss, they've been struggling a bit to find their T-weight this game, and now would be a good time. That one just coming up a little short, but I feel like that's getting better. It's no use through the back. And that weight, not too bad, I think, on that throw. Just about a metre more, and that would probably have been about T-weight. And that blue out front, that's a stone we can now use. We can push it back, we can push it back to the house, or if we have to, we could try to make a promotion, blue onto yellow. But again, we've seen the Koreans, they really have found their T-weight. They're just making shots more consistently than the Swiss, and oh dear, sorry Team Korea. I have again cursed that stone by praising the nice T-weight of Korea. The decision here then is either direct T-weight, so just go curl behind the back of everything. That seems to be the decision. The other idea was indeed to use that blue stone just to the left of the centre line. But I think, yeah, let's leave that blue there for now. We can use that with last stone if we have to. But I think this is the right call. Let's just try and outdraw that yellow. It's just on the outside of the 4-foot circle. And plenty of space to really bury a blue stone in behind those 2 guards just out front towards the centre line. This game so far, bit of a story of missed chances for the Swiss team. They've been doing well at creating chances, but not quite finishing them off. And again, that stone just coming up a little bit short. But again, it's no use through the back, and the Swiss get been really overthrowing a few of our stones. And I feel like this adjustment's getting better. As we've seen though in the previous ends, there's been a Korean stone putting pressure, Korean stone in the house, just putting pressure on for the whole end, really since, you know, the first or second throw. And the Korean back end, I'm sure, very grateful to their first and second thrower for setting up these ends so nicely. So they are going to have a second yellow in the house there. But that just slips behind T, so that doesn't change what Switzerland has to do with this final throw in the 6th end. Throwing against 2 yellow Korean counters. The brush needing to be a bit wider on this throw than the previous one. And this stone needing to have a little bit more weight on it than the previous stone also. Final throw in the 6th end of our featured game at the 15th International Wheelchair Curling Tournament. And the line's lovely on this throw. Does it have the legs to get there? It was probably a little bit stickier out there, just that slightly wider ice. Tough throw, throwing really on a bit of a new path out there. Really towards the edge of the sheet, and that blue throw just coming up short. And I think, yeah, this game is starting to get away from the Swiss team. But plenty more games to come. Each team will play 6 games this weekend, 2 today, 2 tomorrow, 2 on Sunday. Plenty more games for the Swiss team to come. They can certainly still achieve objectives in this game. Let's finish strong. But that is another steal of 2 to the Korean team. And after 6 ends in our featured game, here in Curling Club Wetzikon, it is the Korean team who are leading the team from Oberwallis in Switzerland 6-0. Making an excellent case for MVP of this game, the Korean lead. She has barely missed a shot. So consistent. That's what the Swiss have been missing. The Korean lead in particular for me, just having such a successful game. Yeah, look how happy her skip is. He's more or less just says, oh, same again, please. Another stone right in the 4-foot, and goodness me, is she delivering. I wouldn't quite say she's winning the game all by herself, but goodness me, she is putting pressure on from that first throw. We have 2 more ends in our featured game here. It's Team Korea leading 6-0 over the Swiss team from Club Oberwallis. I do have to think that a gap of 6 in 2 ends, that is a huge mountain to climb. Obvious Swiss stroke coming. So yeah, even though it's a Swiss team, and we have lots of mountains to climb in this country, you have to think that this game, Korea starting to see the finish line here. But that's exactly what they need in the 7th end. Definitely Swiss team from Club Oberwallis, they can definitely still achieve good objectives in this game. Let's sort out that consistency with the weight. A few of them really overthrowing and then overcorrecting. Let's finish strong in the 7th and 8th end. And take good confidence into the second game. Korea, I think, if I was them, I would be very pleased with this performance so far. Real confidence builder for them. Yet another lovely throw from the Korean lead. But this is already looking better. You have a corner guard now for Switzerland. We can see what's the idea here. Use those 2 yellows to hit and roll in behind that corner guard. Well, not quite. That stone overcurling slightly. But important is that blue corner guard still there. And still space for the Swiss to start building something in the 7th end. Important for them to have a nice steady finish, a strong finish. A tough ask for this Swiss team to go up against the Korean team in the first game. We would always expect this Korean team to be strong. Loads of experience for them from Paralympic and international competitions over the years. But that's maybe a half shot from them. Yes, that yellow, that's still lying shot. But exactly where she's signalling. If you can get a blue stone, we call it a corner freeze, which is maybe sounds a bit funny since everything is round. But yeah, if you just can nudge up against that yellow, your blue will be nice and safe with a yellow behind it. And it will all be behind a nice corner guard, and that would be a much happier setup for Switzerland. And this looks nice. Again, really difficult shot this without any sweepers, and super effort from the Swiss team. Yeah, they wanted it half a metre more, but that's still a stone they can use. This is much better from the Swiss. Korea, on the other hand, they will just want to keep things tidy. They will still want to finish strong as well. And that's another small slip from Team Korea. Yeah, that's exactly the right idea. Still need to use that corner guard. And even if he catches the blue that he threw with his first throw, that's still much better setup for the Swiss. So he was ever so close with his first throw. Oh, and I think that stone just lost a bit of handle. It was curling nicely towards the yellow, and that's a pity. Our next game today, it's at 3:30 European time. And I can't tell you who we shall be watching because we are playing the Schenkel system. It's a nice Scottish word. What that means is this first draw, that's drawn in advance. And all 12 teams will be ranked 1 to 12 after this round, according to winning the game, then winning ends, and then winning points. After being ranked 1 to 12, then 1 plays 2, 3 plays 4, etc., etc. And we will do that for rounds 2 to 5. If you keep winning, you will stay at the top of the table. And after each round, the teams will be ranked 1 to 12. And the draw figured out that way. So I can't say who we shall be watching this afternoon, but you can find the results on the competition website and we can work it out from there. But as we said earlier, we have 12 really strong teams out there. I wanted to say that, oh, surely the Korean team, highly experienced, I'm sure they're one of the favourites. Not really, in the sense that I think we've got about 6 or 7 teams who could realistically play in the final. It will be a closed final for the final round. That means whoever is sitting top of the pile when the teams are ranked 1 to 12 for the final round, it will be a closed final. And those 2 teams will finish first and second. And actually, it's the same for teams playing for third and fourth. That's a closed bronze medal match as well. But gosh, Korea relentless out there. The Swiss just making too many mistakes, really, too many half shots. We can see not playing horribly at all, the Swiss, but the Koreans just keeping that gentle pressure the whole time. We can see, though, the Swiss definitely improving with the consistency, with the accuracy. That's found a decent spot, but oh, that pesky yellow is still closest to the centre. But at least everything's open. We're on skip stones or fourth thrower stones in the 7th end of our featured game here. The Korean team, I'm sure they'll be delighted with their performance. Really getting a strong start here in this competition. A lot of these teams making the journey here to Switzerland this weekend, and they will be travelling to Scotland for another international wheelchair curling tournament next Saturday, or next weekend rather. For a few years now, there's been the double tournament and really making it worthwhile for the international teams to travel. I'm sure Korea will be very glad they've made the journey the moment. We've been keeping eyes on the other teams, but I've not really been able to watch their form too much. But certainly, if Korea can continue to play like this, they would have high hopes to do well in this competition. They've really been very, very consistent, making very few mistakes. First throw from the Swiss skip in the 7th end. And she's really been struggling a bit with her weight, but that's a lot better. That's found a really nice spot, that blue. There's a good angle. It does not yet beat the yellow stones, but very dangerous blue stone there. As you can see, it would not take much to push that blue either just a few centimetres back to be shot stone, or you could push it into either of the yellows. That stone found a really nice spot there, and the Koreans recognising that it's dangerous. And indeed going for a bit of a powwow to discuss what's the best idea. You can see that it would be tougher for Korea to try to remove that blue. There are 2 yellows behind it, pretty close behind it, that would be very easy to run into. And as we said, especially without sweeping, to just push that blue straight through the hole of the back. Much harder if you don't have your sweepers to keep things online. We've seen the Korean 4th thrower. He is accurate when he's throwing a takeout, but yeah, that blue in a dangerous place with those yellows behind it, and Korea deciding the percentage shot. By that we mean the shot they feel most likely to succeed. They just want to drop something in front of that blue. It's still yellow lying short. This is the kind of throw then that you may just see at this highest level. You may just see a difference between the tactic of wheelchair team and tactic of one of the top foot player teams. But even at the club, we will probably play this card as well. Unless you're very confident with your accuracy, that is not such a big hole to punch that blue through. But not quite finding the curl on that one. And that dangerous blue still available. The overhead showed us a really nice angle there. That was that yellow touching the centre line. That's actually the shot, that's closest. But then that blue just thrown, that's actually second shot. If you want to make 2 points, we need to move that yellow, or if you play on that blue that you just threw, you could potentially nudge that blue forward and just roll into second shot position yourself. That could be the easier way of doing it if it's possible. We can see all of that yellow that's touching the centre line, but not so easy to get to it, honestly. You have to get outside the guard on the right of the centre line as we see it, but inside that blue with exactly the right weight. Not so easy. Maybe playing on that blue out front there. Maybe playing on that blue. Could be the easier way of getting 2 points here. But finally, Switzerland with a big chance to score 2. But we've seen that all game. They've been good at making chances. Now they need to finish them off. as we thought then. Not such a big space on the clockwise handle. So on the left of the centre line as we see it, there's not such an easy space to get to that yellow, and the Swiss coming on the anti-clockwise handle instead. I'm not sure if they're going for the yellow. I don't know if there's enough curl to get all the way round the guard and to the back yellow, or whether they're just going for direct draw. Let's see. She had exactly the right weight with her last stone, but she needs to get around this guard. She has. Oh, but that's just going to come up a bit short. What a pity. Oh, that was so nicely set up. So there, the curl was there, wasn't it? To go around the anti-clockwise handle and potentially get all the way to the back yellow. But that stone just coming up short, but much better effort though. So let's see highlights from this end here. Korea very happy to just keep things tidy. Again, that yellow in the 8 foot, that's what was putting the pressure on for the whole end. So Switzerland doing nicely with getting a couple stones in play, but still struggling to do something about this very precise play from Korea. But yeah, you can see blue starting to build up. But that little yellow causing all sorts of problems for most of the end, stopping Switzerland really from being able to build too much. And it's another one on the scoreboard to Team Korea, averaging a very symmetrical 1 point per end. It is Team Korea leading the Swiss team from Club Oberwallis 7-0 after 7 ends. To the surprise of no one, the Korean lead thrower playing another lovely throw into the house. Now, there's a couple of ways of thinking here if you're Team Switzerland. Chance of scoring 7, very small. You can draw a game here. If the scores are tied after 8 ends, that's how it remains. In the round robin stage here, it's okay to tie a game. But yeah, the Swiss team would need to score 7 just to tie the game. That's a huge order. I don't think that's going to happen, and I'm sure they realise that as well. Now, there are a couple of ways of thinking of this. You could still play more aggressively and try to score maybe 2 points. But what you really want to do is make sure that you score this end. So look, the Swiss team, they don't have any ends yet from this game. And as we said, after this round, all 12 teams will be ranked 1 to 12, according to games won, ends won, then shots won. And getting this end then could be important for Switzerland. Oh, that was a look of frustration from the Korean player, and you can see the effect that had. One of her colleagues was not positioned behind her to just hold her wheels, make sure she didn't slip, and she did slip. And that is not a mistake from her. That's a slip from her teammate there. Important then for Switzerland, yeah, they really want to score this end. And even if that means just scoring 1, it doesn't really matter. Difficult to get points from this Korean team, as we've seen. Much easier to score 1 than it is to score 2. You've got last stone, you have 1 last stone. And to make 1 point with your 1 last stone, much easier than trying to generate 2 points instead. Therefore, sometimes in this situation, what you will see, it seems a little bit backward tactics, but sometimes you will see even the team that's not winning just now, you will even see them just play hits and hits and hits. And what they're doing is just making sure that they can score that 1 point with the one last stone. And let's make sure we get one end from this game. We may see a little bit of that from Switzerland. That means we may not see them putting guards out front, try to draw stones in behind. That's a tough way of making points. The easiest way to get points is if everything's wide open with your one last stone and you simply have to land it somewhere in the house. That's the easiest way of scoring 1 point. But maybe Korea already thinking about having lunch. That was a miss from them. Objective though for Switzerland, I think it looks like, and I agree with them, let's just make sure we can score something this end. Let's make sure we get one end from this game. If you're not winning the game, then it's ends that count next. So the difference between scoring 1 point in the end or 2 points in the end, minimal, but important is you do score something. And Switzerland suddenly finding their tea weight perfectly, or house weight perfectly. And a couple of lapses of concentration from Korea. We shall be watching the next round. That is at 3:30 European. I can't tell you who we shall be watching. We shall be watching this sheet. Our live cam is on sheet 3 all weekend. I can't yet tell you who will be on that sheet because after this round, all 12 teams will be ranked 1 to 12. 1 will play 2, 3 will play 4, etc. You may know this as the Schenkel system. Nice Scottish word. So I can't tell you who we shall be watching. We shall be watching sheet 3, and we are aiming to feature all of our teams at least once. And this is good to see from the Swiss. They've had a tough game, but they haven't played horribly, and it's important to maintain confidence for their next game. And finishing with a nice tidy end like this. Let's make sure they can score something this end, take one end out of this game. That's a nice positive way to finish and keep some confidence for next game. Korea, if I was them, I would be delighted with this opening game. They should definitely be taking confidence into next game. Korea just doing what they do. Keeping the points down. But too many stones already played. Korea have definitely won this game. No possibility at all to get somehow 7 points, which would be extremely unusual in any game. No possibility for the Swiss to win or even draw this game. Korea have already won it. They will simply be wanting to finish off tidily and positively. And important for the Swiss team to take confidence into their next game. Well, I wish they'd thought of this a few ends ago. They've suddenly really landed in a more consistent place. That's really what was missing for them this game. They were giving themselves chances. They were getting a couple of slips, a couple of half shots from Korea, but they were not quite closing out those chances just due to a bit of a lack of consistency. The Korean team, it's really them who have been more consistent, and you can see that just consistently 1s and 2s on the board. Nothing fancy. They really have been doing the simple things very well in this game, Korea. Will be interesting to see how they respond when there is a bit more pressure on them. But all credit to them. They've been doing the simple things well, particularly that lady on the right of your screen, the lead thrower for Korea. She has hardly missed a throw. The only time she made a mistake was when her colleague was not holding her wheels properly. You will see all of the teams out here in wheelchair curling. You must have men and ladies in the team. So in every one of the 12 teams, you will see at least one man and at least one lady. And you can have any mix therein. So keep going, Swiss. Let's have a nice positive finish in this 8th end. Make no mistake, viewer, Korea, they would love to have this end as well. That could help them out later on in the competition. They won't be giving up this end for free, but certainly Switzerland in a much happier position at the moment. Korea, though, realising they don't really need to do anything fancy. There's no need to go for a freeze here or anything aggressive. They've just, yeah, they've won the game already. They would be happy to get this end, but yeah, they can use this as a bit of target practice. Just cut down the number of blues. It is still the Swiss who are lying short. All the stones in the 12 foot, the red ring, the blue at the back there, just near the Korean skip's feet. That is currently lying short. The yellow on the right of our screen, that is lying second shot, and that is why we are seeing the Swiss want to remove it. They want to try to bring the blue on the left of our screen back into play. If they could hit and stick here, they will be lying 3 blues with only 1 Korean stone to come. And that will be the perfect way for Swiss team to finish this tough game. She does. That blue doesn't hang around, but as you can see, removing that yellow, that now means we have 2 blues. And that was the idea. Korea not even bothering to look for a double takeout. No need. Last throw of a real strong performance from this Korean team. He certainly got the blue. Is he going to hang around? He is not. And finally, the Swiss can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief There's the picture on the left of our screen, that blue that's just about halfway in. No more Korean stones to come. That blue already counts as 1 point. Switzerland have won this end. They finally have an open house to draw to. And I'm happy for the Swiss team. That was well worked in this 8th end. They really stuck to their task. They're really finding a bit more consistent weight. Is that blue going to make it? Oh, it doesn't quite have the legs, but not to worry. That blue at the top of our screen there, that's just grabbing the house. It is going to be 1 blue right at the end for Switzerland. Good to see them with a positive finish. And congratulations to Team Korea. Really solid performance from them. Very consistent. They really found their consistent weight. Very good performance from them. They will start the competition with 1 win. They got 5 ends from that game. Nobody gets a blank end, so 5 ends from that game. 7 points. They will be in a nice position when we rank the teams from 1 to 12. All the other games still out there, so keep an eye on the tournament website. It's at IWCT.ch. We will be watching sheet 3. Not yet clear which teams will be playing each other. We shall need to wait for the full results. But keep eyes on the website for the results after the round. You can see the other games still in progress. They're all in their 8th end as well. We shall be back here at 3:30 for the second round at the 15th International Wheelchair Curling Tournament. Thank you very much for your company just now. Join us again at 3:30. Bye for now.
Passion, Liebe zum Detail, Innovation, Team Spirit, große Emotionen und bleibende Momente. Mediarent, powering events since 1933.